Welcome to the FBJ studios at the University of Hinton Pavilion. It is Thursday, December 26th. What's beef? Do we know? I mean, Big tried to define it for us a long time ago. Do you know what beef is? Ask yourself. Just want to get the first 25 seconds into that. Thank you for joining us today at FBJ Studios. I'm your host, Stan White. Contact info, Gmail, stan.white87@gmail.com. Facebook, Stan White. Twitter handle is StanWhite87. And the YouTube channel where you can find these videos, Stanley White Jr., all whites with a Y, baby. All whites with a Y. Let's jump right in. We're trying to do everything in one part today. You know, some of the shows lately have been on the excessively longer side, especially with the second halves of the last two videos being combined 37 minutes. We tried not to have that going today. Let's try to limit it to one, not take too much of your time, not too much going on tonight. There's 4 games or 5 games yesterday, so let's jump in it. Can't see the board. Also, I tweeted out a picture of the board this morning. It said Beefy Friday. It's not Friday. It feels like it's Friday, but it is Thursday. Beefy Thursday. So welcome to today's Beefy Thursday episode. The reason behind that is there's been a lot of beef this week. I beefed with Spike Eskin for about 4 episodes. Shit happens. Beef happens. You know, Twitter wars happen. Just don't be a Twitter gangster. It's rude. Yesterday's games were, and you know, yesterday's games were a disappointment overall. I have up here snoozers until Houston at San Antonio, and the Rockets pulled that one out at the AT&T Center. 111-98. The Beard came back and scored 28 fantasy points last night. I played against him. Actually, I'm sorry. He scored 32 fantasy points last night. Yeah, 32 fantasy points. And Wessel Westbrook, who I also played against, scored 32 fantasy points. So I have here KD and West versus New York Knicks, 123-94. Russell Westbrook had a triple-double in 29 minutes, which is efficient as all get out, and very impressive. Very, very impressive. But yeah, back to the Houston-San Antonio game. It looks like Houston is the kryptonite to the Spurs. Yikes. They've beaten them the last 2 times. Houston is really starting to wear out in the form of our 20 rebound performance for Dwight Howard last night. So if you own D-Ho and you drafted him, you know, he's really getting into shape. And, you know, congrats on having him, because he's been a steady, solid fantasy contributor, really starting to round into that shape that he was in back when he was with the Magic, when he was that finals team there with Haydu and Jameer, Rashard Lewis, all those guys. That was really probably one of the best teams that Dwight. Oh, of course, Ryan Anderson and Marcin Gortat. Probably one of the best teams that Dwight Howard's ever had. But this team that he's on now with Parsons, the Beard, Jalen Garcia, Terrence Jones, and Ashik, who is up in the air somewhere. A lot of good players on that team. So great win for Houston last night. If you get the Beard and you started him, way to pay attention. Way to pick up on the fact that he was going to play regardless of his foot injury. Now, he does play tonight against Memphis. He's home to Memphis, so if you have him starting, don't be surprised if his production does drop off a little bit. It's coming off a back-to-back. He hasn't really played in over a week, so let's just see. So stay tuned on that. He's going to play, but just watch his production. Clips Dubs. I got on the Night Shift t-shirt. If you remember, the year before the Sixers had that terrible trade, which netted them nothing. I know it supposedly netted us a top 5 center, but it netted us nothing for that year. The year before, we had an amazing bench led by Lou Will and Thaddeus Young, who apparently has requested a trade. I don't blame him. Thad, if you leave, sorry to see you go. But yeah, the night shift because of the Sixers bench. Zumoff, hat tip, Mark Zumoff, Sixers play-by-play announcer, and Malik Rose, the color man, side by side, pushed the night shift, and it was this was a T-shirt commemorating the Sixers bench. Probably the most fun I've ever had watching a bench. Spencer Hall's always in the house, was in and out of that lineup and part of that bench as well. So with night shift being said, the last game of the night, Clips at Dubs, was the best game of the night by far. And there was some beef in that matchup. It looked like Heat's Knicks from the 90s, the light version of it. Because, of course, as you know, well, let's just say you wouldn't get ejected just for throwing an elbow to somebody's chops in that series back in the 90s. I've got Bulls, Pacers, Heat, Pacers, Heat, Bulls, Bulls, Pacers. The Hornets got mixed it up, got in there. I mean, the East used to be slug it out, and it was competitive. It was competitive, and everybody wanted the same thing. It looks like the West is turning into that, especially with Clips, Dubs. If you didn't see the highlights, Draymond Green throwing a bow to Griffin's chops, got him ejected. Double technical, 2 at the time. I'm sorry, technical awarded to Blake Griffin, and then a flagrant 2 awarded to Draymond Green. He was out of there. And that was at the end of the third quarter. A minute and a half after that, Andrew Bogut ties up Blake Griffin, just grabs him, grabs his jersey, they get tangled up. Blake grabs him in response, and guess what? Double technical. So what does that mean? Blake, you're gone. You just got 2 techs in 90 seconds. Congratulations. I could call bullshit if I wanted to. I'm not really invested on either side. I enjoy competitive hoops just like anybody else would. But I can understand from if you are Doc Rivers or affiliated with the Clips in any way whatsoever, you would be mad because Blake did nothing to deserve that second tech. However, you also have to be aware and know the situation. Bogut didn't have any techs at the time. He knew Blake had one. Basically, he had one to spare. He instigated the foul, but, there was nothing in the rule book saying that you can't instigate. It's not like hockey, where if you get into a fight and you instigate the fight, you're automatically gone. You automatically get a game misconduct. So the NBA has no such rule to protect players, and John Barry, who did the color last night, hat tip to you, sir, who's doing the color for the game on ESPN, was adamant in the fact that Blake did nothing to get ejected, and that there needs to be an instigator clause written somewhere in the rules that protects players who have technicals, who already have one tech, and may or may not get thrown into a situation where they can encounter another tech because of someone instigating a brouhaha with them. Great point, John. Hopefully they find some way to figure it out. Because that was bogus. So Blake Griffin, who had a monster game, he had a double-double at the time, was really was a strong player in the game last night. We can actually get you his stats. And bear with us here for a second. Yeah, he had 14 rebounds last night. We can get you the full box score. Really unfortunate for a player to get ejected in such a manner, but there is no provision that protects players with that instigator. So, yeah, Blake Griffin, 33 minutes played, 8 of 16 from the floor, 4 of 6 from the line, 11 defensive rebounds, 14 boards overall, 5 assists. He was a +2 overall. So without even digging into his fantasy numbers, he was having a hell of a game, and he got screwed. I don't know how else to put that. And like I said, I'm not defending anybody for what happened in that game, but yeah, check the tape. And then there was a brouhaha at the end of the game, involving Chris Paul, of course, and and Bogut. Or check the film. I mean, yikes! It was it's kind of messy. Okay, so yeah, it was messy. It was a messy game, entertaining game. The next matchup for those two teams will be January 30th. Market calendars Thursday night. It's the second game of the TNT doubleheader. It'll be at the Oracle, 10:30 Eastern. I'll be watching. Best believe that. Also, a funny note from that game: the Clippers declined to have chapel with the Dubs last night on Christmas. Doc, on Christmas? I know you don't like those guys, but on Christmas? Whew. What's beef, baby? That's beef. That's beef. All right, so yeah, that was. Yeah, it looked like last night. The action really picked up at 8 p.m. because the first three games were snoozers. And I'm going to cover the first two games. LeBron had a couple alley-oops that were replayed over and over again on SportsCenter last night. Congrats to you if you watched SportsCenter all night like I did and saw the lob 62 times. That's entertaining, ESPN. Hats it for entertaining highlights. My fantasy matchup this week, we're up 55 points, 259 to 204 through 2 nights of action. Got out-ratioed and outscored last night. He had 6 players going, got 104 for him. I had 7, 102 for me. Joe Johnson with only 4 fantasy points. 5 of 11 from the floor, so that's a little disappointing. Wesley Johnson, 8 fantasy points. Jeremy Lamb scored 16 fantasy points, though. Got a lot of garbage time. Minutes against the Knicks. Shump, 13 fantasy points. About bleeping time, Shump. That's only because Melo didn't play. So if Melo plays, I guess he'll average around his 3 to 4 per game. Surprising to see Melo not playing, though he did suffer his latest injury on Monday. So you would think that all the stars would be ready and willing to play, but Melo probably made a smart move. Hey, this team isn't really that great, and we're playing one of the top 3 teams in the league, so let me not incur this, let me not further hurt myself against a team that maybe, I can't really do smack against anyway. Sorry, Mels. It happens. So that was surprising not to see Melo play. And but even with that, so it's a good thing, I guess, being that I played against Melo, Westbrook, and the Beard, for Westbrook and the Beard to have 64 combined points and Melo to not play kind of spared me. So we only lost 2 points on our lead. It was 57 before the day started. Lost 2, we're down to 55. My opponent has picked up 2 more guys for tonight, Ed Davis and Thiago Splitter. Ed Davis is playing at Houston. Houston's coming off a back-to-back, so they may be a little tired. Maybe not, though, because they didn't really have to. I mean, it wasn't like San Antonio fought to the death. Pop pulled the starters with about 5 minutes left. Not 5 minutes. A minute and a half left. He pulled the starters. He pulled everybody. And of course, San Antonio is playing at Dallas tonight. That Pop was playing Jeff Ayers a lot of minutes, a lot of Patty Mills. Manu got a lot of minutes, so he's probably more concerned with this matchup tonight at Dallas than he was. Who knows? I mean, it's the essence of Pop. So you really never know. You just have to know his schedule and guess his rotations from a fantasy perspective as best as possible. Um, I still have yet to make any moves this week. I'm I feel compelled as all get out to make a move. I looked at the matchups. I looked at the schedule. I looked at who's available. A lot of great players available in my league, and we have a deep, deep league. It could be that it's Christmas and really only the the degenerates who constantly check, like myself, and the guy I'm playing against this week. We both lead the league in moves. Moves made. I have 46. He's up to 39. He had 36 when the week started. So I still lead him by 7, even though I have yet to make a pickup. So that kind of shows you how shocked I am that I'm locked into this roster. I have my lineup set for tonight through Sunday. I'm not going to make any pickups. I only have 2 players tonight. He has 4. I have Boris and Dirk. Boris played last night, but Dirk had the night off last night. So, kind of hoping that Dirk has a productive night for me. 4 games tonight in the association. 4 games. Trying to pick a tune out to write out the show. I know I should have had this set up already. The games tonight are Atlanta at Cleveland, Memphis at Houston, San Antonio at Dallas, and the last game, Clippers at Portland. I really don't know what I want to play, folks. I think I found something. Oh, I forgot. Wow. Boom, boom, boom goes the dynamite live. This is so terrible. Clips at Portland, that should be your game of the night. Clips coming off the back-to-back. It's really tough to play up there in the Rose Garden. I'm not calling it by its new name. We took the best name in team sports, pretty much, and changed it into another corporate blah. So, yeah. Rose Garden tonight. Clips at Rip City. Check it out, 10:30. TNT. Who to get tonight? I've got if you need guards, looks like we went guard heavy instead of big heavy today. Darren Collison, backup point guard for the Clips. 10.5 fantasy points the last 2 weeks. He's only owned it by 2.4% of teams and ESPN fantasy, so check him out. 20.9 minutes per game over the last 2 weeks, so that's not bad. He's coming off a back-to-back, and you might need another guard. Jamal Crawford's been playing a lot more too, but yeah, why not? And there's no JJ Redick still, so that obviously breaks down the rotation a little bit more for the Clips. Jarrett Bayless of Memphis, I like him because he plays the 1-2 swing position, so that gives you a little bit more flexibility. You can plug him in at either guard spot, or if you need to drop him in all the way down below at the guard position or the utilities position. He's owned by 0.7% of owners, not even 1%. 10.1 fantasy points the last 2 weeks, and I'm still riding. I keep recommending the same types of players. Bellinelli tonight, 9.3 fantasy points the last 2 weeks, only 1.3% of ownership. 1.33s per game though. And there's a lot of guards out there that are available too. Caspi's available. Only 22 minutes played last night by Bellinelli. So, go get these guys. All right. That'll do it for today. We could have still done 2 parts. Not really on fire today. No beef. So enjoy tonight's games. 4 games in the association. Doubleheader on TNT. We'll be back on Friday tomorrow. Hats tip to you folks for sticking around. Be out.